Here is your sign to post your aligned content, even if nobody watches, even if you think no one is watching. This video is as much of an encouragement to you as it is to me who is making it, so that we can encourage each other, one another. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, if you're an entrepreneurial woman, a professional woman, a creative, and you've been wanting to start your content creation journey, because that is where I found my purpose, teaching, empowering, and guiding women to their north star, so to say, to calling their abundance. So, if you are interested, or if content creation is what you've been wanting to do and you've been experiencing some fears, some blocks, some excuses, this is your sign to post your content even if no one is watching. Post your aligned content even if nobody watches. Post it because your soul said so. Post it because you are becoming the woman who doesn't wait for applause. Post it because alignment always echoes before it amplifies. Post your content because silent rooms still carry sacred resonance. Post your content because consistency is the spell that summons visibility. Post it because whispers become waves. Post it because your future self is watching. Post your content because your aligned tribe is searching for you in the dark. Post your content because your purpose is louder than your likes. Post that content because your spirit recognizes its own frequency. Post your content because your body knows when you are betraying yourself. Post it because your content is medicine. Someone will inhale it and heal. Post your content because your destiny won't chase you. It meets you where you show up. Post it because being unseen today has nothing to do with being unforgettable tomorrow. Post that content because visibility starts as devotion, not noise. Post your content because aligned voices never die, they ripple. Post that content because silence steals opportunity. Post it because your gifts deserve oxygen. Post your content because the universe can't multiply what you don't release. Post that content because sustainable profit comes from energetic integrity. Post your content because you are building a legacy, not a moment. Post your content because your creativity blooms when it is witnessed, even by one. Post your content because aligned action is an offering to abundance. Post that content because your gift deserve oxygen. Post it because silence steals opportunity. Post it because your soul led content is currency. Post it because your art is the doorway to your wealth timeline. Post your content because universe doesn't multiply what you don't release. Post it because your art is the doorway to your wealth timeline. Post your content because alignment is the algorithm of the divine. Post your content because your heart didn't birth this message for storage. Post your content because you are rebranding your fear into faith. Post that content because your purpose doesn't shrink for analytics. Post your content because the right eyes will find you on cosmic time. Post your content because consistency magnetizes opportunities. Post your content because women who wait become women who regret. Post your content because every post is a prayer. Post that content because your money responds to your courage. Post the content because confidence grows in public. Post your content because content is energetic hygiene. Your expression keeps you clean and you need to express. Sis, my queen, my darling, post your content because your gifts are not seasonal. Post your content because your aligned content is your lighthouse. Post it because your tribe is spiritually coded to recognize you. Post that content because hiding is expensive. Post your content because your purpose deserves its own stage. Post that content because wealth rewards visibility. Go ahead and post that content because your message was born to move. Post it because your essence is the marketing strategy. Post it because your voice creates opportunity long before metrics do. Post it because aligned action dissolves doubt. Post your message. Post your content because your feminine energy thrives in expression, not suppression. Post your content because your spirit grows louder the more you honor it. Post that content because one viewer can change everything. Post the content because your brilliance is not negotiable. Post that content because your purpose isn't on pause. Post the content because your intuition is your content calendar. Post your content because the world gets brighter every time a woman honors her truth. Post it because aligned women create aligned wealth. Post your content because you are being watched by miracles, not metrics. Post your content because nothing aligned is ever wasted. Post it because authenticity is your superpower. Post it because oppression is spiritual death. Post it because liberation looks like self expression. Post your content because pleasure multiplies when you move from truth. Post your content because your empire is built one aligned post at a time. Post it because consistency builds trust and trust builds wealth. Post your content because creativity stagnates when you hoard it. Post it because inspired action is feminine leadership. Post it because someone needs your voice to activate theirs. Post your content because your content is a frequency, not a performance. Post your content because your body feels lighter when you honor your creativity. I'll see you in part two. Let's leave it here. I will see you in part two. Go ahead and post your content, even if nobody watches. Post it, just post. Honor yourself, honor your message, honor your divine, honor the download, honor the source by going ahead and posting. Stop worrying about the algorithm, stop worrying about what people will think. Go ahead and dish and dish and dish from the wellspring from within you. I hope and I pray that this message lands safely with you. I hope it transforms you, transform your life, transform your business, your work, your career. You know, we are about that meaningful work, that joyful profit over here. So if you're a high flying woman, a high achieving woman, and you want to get to the bag, create wealth without sacrificing your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, this is a community for you. If you are about creating joyful and meaningful businesses online off of your purpose, your gift, your talents, your experiences, your expertise, let's get talking. Link to join my Glow Up community will be in the description, and the link to have a one-on-one conversation with me will also be in the description as well. I love you all so much. Let me know what you think about today's Soul Whispers in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. What are you waiting for? It's all love over here. Like the video, share the video, click on the notification button, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, may you always believe in yourself. Stay feminine, stay aligned, stay grounded, and keep blooming. I love you and I am rooting for you. Mwah! Bye.